even though I have been studying Aquinas for quite a while now, I didn't start off my Dominican life or even thinking about the priesthood or the religious life by thinking I was going to study Aquinas. In fact, it was because I was interested in pursuing a priestly vocation that I went to study philosophy at the Catholic University of America. And when I showed up there, one of the classes that I was enrolled in was a class on St. Thomas on the Passions of the Soul. And I had never seriously studied Aquinas for any extended period of time, especially studied it intensively like you would in a graduate course. And as I began to study this subject, I thought, well, this is pretty interesting. This is a guy who's obviously brilliant. He's come up with a very detailed system for understanding the different emotions that human beings can have, the passions of the soul. But I thought, this is just the work of a very clever guy who's managed to break up into pieces all these different aspects of the human personality, but I'm not convinced that this really corresponds to reality. But as the semester went on, as I studied Aquinas more and more, I began to think, you know, actually, I think this really corresponds to reality. And the more I became convinced of that, the more I realized Aquinas is not just a very clever thinker, he's not just a very smart guy, he's somebody who really has an insight into what is real. And as I began to see that, then, of course, I wanted to know more about what he taught. And the more I studied him, the more I became convinced that he was giving me purchase on reality. And so I don't approach the study of Aquinas as a kind of partisan activity. Aquinas is a Dominican, he's my guy, therefore I'm going to fly the Aquinas flag and try and, support whatever he says. It's rather that I've found Aquinas to be an incredibly powerful thinker, somebody who helps me see where the joints are in reality, and therefore to understand the structure of reality. And that gives even someone with a very modest intellect the capacity to go much further than I could ever do on my own. And so that's why I think Aquinas is one of those perennially important thinkers to study, and someone who's especially useful for studying today when, in fact, studies in the university often don't have much of a structure. Aquinas gives you exactly how to approach that reality and a place to fit in all kinds of other important truths into an overarching understanding of the real that I think is his great genius.